Hey everyone, it's ATX VGC. We're here today bringing you a little bit different content than we usually do, a little deviation from our Monday night friendlies. The ATX VGC crew is competing in a multi-battle league, which is slightly different than VGC, but it is still a doubles battle. We participated in a draft last weekend, and this is the team builder for our first week against our first opponents. So this week we're going to be playing the Sweepers. They have a really interesting team that I'm going to go ahead and flash up on screen right now. And we're just going to go through their team real quick. So for their S-rank mon, they have Mew, who is incredibly versatile because Mew can learn every TR and TM in the game. Additionally, they have a rain mode to their team. One of their A-rank Pokemon is Pelipper, who will set the rain with the Drizzle ability. Then their other A-tier Pokemon is the Gmax Corviknight. And in this league, you can only Dynamax your Gmax Pokemon. Rounding out their B-tier Pokemon, we see that they have Comfey, which can be pretty scary with that +3 priority on any draining moves, in addition to Raichu, presumably there to help redirect some of the electric attacks away from Pelipper and Corviknight. They also have Kingdra, a very scary rain sweeper, utilizing Swift Swim. Coming down to their C-tier Pokemon, they have Talonflame, in addition to Blissey, Tauros, and finally Golduck. So what we did was we went ahead and built, I will say, Chase here did a lot of the work in terms of figuring out the calcs, and we kind of talked through some of the various points of strategy, and we're going to go through some of those right now. So Chase, do you want to go ahead and start us off here? And talk a little bit about our Lapras spread?
Yeah. So, like, the original core was to use the Lapras plus the Whimsicott. Because I saw they had the rain mode, and that was generally, like, what I was thinking was going to be what they will bring. The Mew, the Pelipper, the Corviknight, and the Kingdra are, like, the four that, when building, I was like, this is what they will bring.
Yeah.
They will definitely bring those. And they also have the Golduck as well. So I'm like, okay, I need to be prepared for rain, but I also need to be prepared for just about everything else.
Yeah.
So what I ended up doing was I took the Lapras and I was like, okay, the first move we need is Freeze Dry.
Yes,
because
100%.
That gets you the Pelipper, that gets you the Kingdra, that gets you pretty much their main core. And then I was like, now let me check. I know we want Hydro Pump just because it's a strong stab move, and if they're going to have rain, then we can hit the Corviknight harder with that. Especially just having Gmax Resonance, or Gmax Geyser, or Max Geyser.
Max Geyser, yeah.
It's just a really strong move to have. Yeah. So I was like, okay, we'll have that as well. As far as the speed goes, I was looking through their team, and I was like, what is their fastest Pokemon, base speed-wise? And I saw Talonflame. And then I tried to figure out how to outspeed Talonflame in Tailwind. And it just wasn't worth it, especially because you can one-hit KO it with Lapras anyways.
Yeah.
So you're going to take one attack, especially if it's going to try to Tailwind. So I didn't think that was worth it. But I did think trying to EV for Tauros, which is 110 base speed, I believe.
Yes, that's correct. It is 110.
So that hits 350 at level 100. So I was like, okay, let me EV to outspeed Tauros by 1 point, which ended up being 2 points because you can't hit 351.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let's go with that. I went pretty much max HP, going with an odd HP number just in case they brought Stealth Rocks, which I don't know if is more common in 6v6, but yeah, I just wanted to prepare for it.
Yeah, that's one of those kind of quirks of this league. It is also, in addition to being doubles, it's 6v6 at level 100. So that was a good call in preparing for everything, especially given that Mew, I know, is a common Stealth Rock setter in other metas, so...
Yeah, no, Mew was like their only Stealth Rock. They had Blissey as well that could theoretically set Stealth Rocks, but I was like, I just might as well make sure that's the case, that we don't die to 4 of them, and instead we can have another switch in. And then I just put 4 in each defense to just bulk up the defenses a little bit, and the rest in special attack with a modest nature, just to make sure I could get the KOs on Kingdras.
Yeah, no, I think that's... I really like the amount of bulk coming from the HP, and then that 172 plus modest. I think we'll be hitting that Kingdra pretty hard with Freeze Dry.
Yeah, I think it even KOs like max HP Kingdra like 95% of the time or something like that when I was running through the calcs, and I didn't think they were going to bring that, but just in case they did,
Yeah.
it's just something that I was looking out for.
Yeah, for sure. And the other kind of like quirk of this is like having to decide when to Dynamax. One of the things that we've learned is in multi-battles, the Dynamax energy passes back and forth between the two partners, so you really have to kind of plan your timing for Dynamaxing accordingly. And really, like, looking at their team, looking at the fact that they have that Gmax Corviknight, I don't want to set screens early just to have them wind raged away. So, like,
Yeah.
JD and I, in talking in strategy, are considering trying to probably go later in the game with Lapras and try and preserve either some of our bulkier mons or set Dracovish up to a point where once Corviknight has wasted its Dynamax, if we can stall that out, how we can most effectively get the screens up and then get our sweepers running through.
Yeah. The Weather Ball tech, I will say, I will mention at a later point in the video.
Yes.
But I did have that in there because initially I was looking at other moves such as Perish Song and Thunder, which I didn't really consider to be all that useful.
Mm-hmm.
Thunder I was looking at, but I liked the ability with Rain Up for Weather Ball to do just about as much damage as Hydro Pump without the chance of missing.
Yeah.
Along with, as you'll see later, there are a couple Pokemon with Sunny Day on this team.
Yeah, which I think is a brilliant tech for that Corviknight. Being able to hit it with a Max Flare if you're maxed. JD and I actually went through and tested that is the case. It doesn't turn into Max Strike or anything. It does in fact go to Max Flare in the sun. So that was really fun. I think that's a really fun tech, and I hope we get to use it.
Yeah, it seems cool. The leftovers were also because I didn't feel like Light Clay were particularly necessary against your opponent's team.
Yeah.
Seeing how offensive it was, you were either going to just get the KOs right away or not get them based on when you Dynamax. You were going to bring it in late and just get all the KOs, or have it early and you don't really need the 8 turns versus 5 turns.
Yeah.
So I thought leftovers for just overall bulk was helpful.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely like that move. Let's go ahead and talk about Dracovish next.
Okay. So, very simple. You really need Vicious Rend for everything and Outrage for Kingdra.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit. It's super interesting set, the fact that you have Sleep Talk and Rest on a Choice Scarf Pokemon as well, which I know feeds into another tech that we're getting ready to talk about next with our next Pokemon. But yeah, Vicious Rend, I was doing some of the calcs on this without speeding, especially if we have Tailwind up. We're bopping like half of their team in like a max of like 2-shotting. I think everything except for like the obviously Kingdra we need the Outrage for, but additionally, like if they max their Corviknight in the face of Dracovish, then we're not going to be KOing with Vicious Rend even if we're going first. So that's one of the things that we've noted to ourselves, like play around that Gmax. It's super important in this meta, very similar to VGC. But really preserving Dracovish because it has the ability to take out their entire team.
Yeah, and then again, the speed was so at +1 you can outspeed pretty much everything other than Talonflame. You outspeed the Tauros by 1 point, you outspeed the Kingdra by a decent amount. And that's really all the speed we needed. I didn't find it necessary to outspeed Talonflame because that would require a Jolly nature, and you just really want the Adamant nature.
Yeah.
Especially because it's 6v6 as well, so you can switch in, rest, if you do get burnt from the Talonflame or you get paralyzed from the Raichu or something of the sort, or burnt on a Scald switch in, you can switch in. If you get burnt, you can rest, switch back out, Sleep Talk, and you're either going to Sleep Talk 2 out of the, like, generally Vicious Rend or Outrage more than you would rest, so you have a 2/3 chance of getting an attack off.
Yeah, for sure. No, I like that tech as well, with the ability to kind of switch out. It does feel like the only thing that they're gonna have against us is potentially status. Whether a faster will-o-wisp from the Talonflame, or if they manage to get a Nuzzle off from Raichu into it, if there's some kind of some multi-targeting going on. Let's go ahead and talk about our next Pokemon, which I think also works in with the Dracovish strategy, and Whimsicott. One of my being able to get these 3 Pokemon in our first 3 rounds of the draft made me so happy, because it's like, all right, we're doing like early VGC 2020 meta, but in a way more restricted format where your answers to Dracovish, there's only one Gastrodon in the league, right? So
yeah, So this Whimsicott is the first thing I built, and I immediately built it as a joke because I was like, "There's no way that like this will be useful." And then I like started doing calcs, and I was like, "Okay, it guaranteed survives sharp beak dual wing beat from Talonflame. It guaranteed survives non-item Hurricane from Kingdra. Like max special attack modest.
Yeah.
It outspeeds again the Tauros because it hits 352, and it will also outspeed your Dracovish by 1 point, which can be useful. And it speed ties Lapras, which I should have EV'd differently and maybe will. I don't know. I don't think it's particularly necessary.
Yeah.
That's the attack the defense is to never die to a dual wing beat from Talonflame, which I feel like they will bring, especially because Sash Whimsicott is very common.
No, I agree.
And that can pick it off before, especially if they're jolly, it'll pick it off generally before we can get the tail end up. So I was like, okay, let me EV to survive that. The 24 lets you guaranteed 2-hit KO max HP Kingdra. Again, something I was worried they might bring.
Yeah.
But I don't think they will. But it's just like worst case scenario, they're max HP, and then this guarantees that 2-hit KO.
Exactly.
The special defense, again, Hurricane, non-item Kingdra, you 100% survive. So if they are something like Life Orb or Choice Specs, you can switcheroo it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can guaranteed survive turn 1, give them the Iron Ball, and then survive, and then get your Tailwind or Sunny Day off the next turn.
Yeah, I love the Iron Ball tech of like taking, if they try and prioritize Talonflame with the Tailwind, we can essentially nullify that on any Pokemon that we feel like Dracovish really needs to outspeed in order to get the Vicious Rend off, or if it's just in a position where we have a Whimsicott 1v1ing that Kingdra, we have the ability to go ahead and take it out. So the Iron Ball switcheroo set is exciting, and the other idea that I know we chatted briefly about this. Actually, we won't reveal that one. We'll leave a little bit in the spice cabinet. In case we don't. I'm not anticipating getting that strategy off this week, so I kind of might want to save that for later.
But I will say this is the triple speed control Whimsicott. You have the Tailwind option to double your speed. You have the Sunny Day option to half the speed of their Swisswing Mons.
Yeah.
And then you have the switcheroo to half the speed of anything. So this is your cover all. The only thing else I could have done was put Trick Room instead of Moonblast, which don't think is necessary.
No, I don't think so. Like, I think the only time where it feels like most times where you, especially given the rest of our team, the fact that we have a Dusclops, the only time where Trick Room feels super useful is when you're really trying to get a surprise element, and honestly, like Taunt or reversing Trick Room, and Taunt I think just works better in terms of reversing Trick Room than this. So let's go ahead and talk next about our own S-tier Pokemon. We got our draft strategy was to draft everything but the S-tier because everyone else drafted their S tiers in round 1, and we just kind of got to sit around and pick off the first of the A tiers, the first of the B tiers, the first of the C tiers. So we're going to be talking about Solgaleo next. This set, not quite as intricate as other ones, but ultimately I think it's going to be effective. Just given how powerful Solgaleo is here with the 137 base attack, I anticipate that it's going to be able to pick up some KOs when it's on the field.
Yeah, I mean, this is a super basic set. The Flare Blitz, you need max attack to have a 95 or 97% chance of KOing max HP G-Max Corviknight in the sun. And then the Wild Charge is again for like the Pelipper and the Golduck and the Talonflame, even to have like super effective options there.
Yeah.
But it's just a very basic tank all the rain attacks and do damage in return.
Yeah, and against a team that's so reliant on rain, I feel like this will be really strong. I like the tech of having the Flare Blitz there, especially with the Sunny Day Whimsicott, and I think that could go ahead and lead into some bigger damage against Corviknight, because that is the one piece that like I feel like we struggle when you look at our 6 with. Corviknight feels kind of most difficult of their potential mons for us to KO, especially being bulky and being their Gigantamax mon. So this next one, given how fast our team is, I think that we have an opportunity with Dusclops to potentially subvert some of their preparation. Because I think that what they're going to be doing is they're going to be thinking, we have to outspeed, we have to outspeed, we have to outspeed. So if they commit everything to their fast moves, I really love having Dusclops there and having the ability to Trick Room.
Yeah. See, the nice thing is they're a pretty fast team. So you have right now enough speed to outspeed it with your own speed control, but without your own Tailwind or your own Sunny Day, you're still going to underspeed pretty much everything they have when they're using their speed control. So the Dusclops, it seems like a very good option to kind of flip everything around if they're trying to, if instead of becoming like an arms race to see who can get their speed controlled the fastest and just do the most damage, getting that Trick Room up should help a lot versus Rain, as it has in pretty much every VGC format.
Right.
And then, so like obviously the Nightshade and the Trick Room are staples to every single Dusclops. You need your 100 damage every single turn that you go for an attack, your Trick Room to change the speeds. I decided Pain Split for staying power.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't think there's anything else that's better than that in that slot. And then when I got to the 4th slot, I was like, okay, Haze is good. They don't really have anything that can boost. Don't need it. Bulldoze is good. We don't have anything to proc the weakness policy. Because we're not running a weakness policy. We could have run weakness policy on something like Lapras and then run Brick Break. But I decided probably not the best option, just because their team was so offensive that you want a more defensive Lapras.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And so I was like, okay, let's just go all in on this Sunny Day tech. Especially because like Solgaleo and Trick Room with Sunny Day can start doing a lot of damage to everything.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, maybe that's the play for, and then so I started with that, and then I just went for the EV spread, max special defense, because the things that are threatening on this team to Dusclops, such as the Rain mode, are all going to be special.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, let me just throw it all in special defense, and I assumed they would bring a special Mew, or I assume they will bring a special Mew. I'm not 100% sure because I think Choice Band is probably the right call, but I also don't think they'll bring Choice Band because it seems like a very like outlandish set at times.
Yeah, it feels especially like choice items could be kind of dangerous, especially on a mon that can do so much like Mew, where they might be asking Mew to fill like 4 different roles with its 4 move slots. So given that, I definitely agree of having the special bulk and appreciate that. There was a bit of a joke that our team is Team NFE, because in addition to the 2 not fully evolved Pokemon you see here in Dusclops and our next one, Rhydon, we also drafted Gothorita and Torracat, trying to kind of do the best at optimizing our different tiers. So do you want to talk a little bit about this Rhydon strat? I'm super excited about this, especially given the fact that they have a Raichu. I'm sure most players are aware of Rhydon's Lightning Rod ability, but it's one of my favorite techs. I ran Lightning Rod Rhyperior in Dallas in VGC, if you recall, from our match there. So I love when we can get a Rhydon tech off.
Yeah, Rhydon is like one of my favorite Pokemon ever, so I like told y'all, please draft this. It is good. I promise you it's good, especially in a draft like this where you don't really have all the resources to draft something else, and having a ground type is nice. And a Violet Rhydon is very good in a restricted format, in my opinion. Especially because like you're not going to be able to Dynamax, therefore Rhyperior isn't as good, so Rhydon just seemed like the higher value Pokemon. So I was like, definitely draft this if you can, because I mean, if you look at its stats, you only need to invest about 80 special defense, and it's just as bulky as Tyranitar.
That's wild.
Yeah.
We obviously went a little bit more than 80 in this case. The other thing I want to note real quickly, because there might be some VGC folks watching this that are thinking, wait, Dusclops has Eviolite. You can't run Rhydon with Eviolite. So in this league, we are allowed to run 2 Pokemon with the same item. So we can have up to 2 Eviolite. So it's not going to be super likely that we bring all 4 of our NFEs in a given week, but it felt like a pretty safe bet. We're most likely going to be bringing 2, more or less every week. So before anyone starts saying, wait, before you get to the match, don't forget you can't have 2 Eviolites. In this league we can. This is obviously not something you want to use if you are in a VGC setting, but for this multi-battle draft league, it's something that's fun.
Okay, so this Rhydon, this is very special because the special defense investment allows you to survive, I believe, Choice Specs Kingdra Hydro Pump in Sun.
That's great.
Which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And you don't even have a special defense boosting nature. So
yeah, we're physically defense boosted.
Yeah. I thought that was a good benchmark to hit, and then I decided I was originally going to just put the rest in defense because I didn't think the attack was necessary.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of realized that it didn't take that much attack to a KO Kingdra with high horsepower, and it also lets you guarantee, I believe, the KO on Talonflame. Otherwise, it's like a 99% roll without this.
With a spread rock slide.
With spread rock slide, correct.
Yeah.
My one thing that I know you need the minus speed in this case. I would love to run minus special attack, especially with the surf.
Yeah.
Because the surf is specifically because there's not a fourth move that gives you more versatility than surf does, because surf lets you get 25% back on your Lapras every turn.
Yeah. I noticed that with the water absorb, because we were water absorb, especially against such a water heavy opposing team. But yeah.
So I think that was the best idea in my opinion to have as a last move. The saddest thing I found out in testing was if a Pokemon has water absorb, then you cannot use Absorb Bulb on it. Sadly, because I wanted to use Absorb Bulb, Water Absorb, Gmax Lapras to give it the +1 special attack and the health back, but sadly that's not how that works.
So it actually has to be hit and damaged by a water move for Absorb Bulb to go off. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. I would have loved to have gotten a self-surf water absorb proc. But yeah, no, this is, I love Rhydon as well. And I think that, especially if we end up in that Trick Room mode, I think Rhydon could really put in some work, because there's not going to be anything that they have that underspeeds it. The only thing we have to worry about is potentially that Comfey, with the, +3 priority on draining moves. So if the Trick Room mode comes, then Comfey, I think, is kind of the scariest part, because if it gets a Calm Mind or two up, it threatens our Dracovish with Draining Kiss, and it threatens our Rhydon with Giga Drain.
Yeah. It should be fine. Your Solgaleo should be deterring it away enough to where I don't think they will bring it.
Yeah.
And if they do, then you just, even at +6, I'm pretty sure it does 30% to Solgaleo.
Yeah.
And you KO in return. So you should be fine, but... Yeah,
it's one of those things where we're going to have to preserve Solgaleo to make sure to check that Comfey if they happen to bring it. It would be really scary to bring Comfey to a Steel S tier matchup, especially one as bulky as Solgaleo. So I don't anticipate us seeing that, or if we see it, I'm not sure it's going to be the biggest problem. But yeah, this is the 6th. The other thing that we are also allowed to bring 2 more Pokemon to Team Preview, but I know we kind of discussed that none of the other ones look particularly strong. So we're probably just going to bring 2 Bluffmons in, probably Virizion and Jolteon.
Just get your fully evolved Pokemon in there so they don't wonder why you have 4 NFEs with only 2 Eviolites.
Yeah, and it's a worst case scenario would go a Focus Sash Goth. But I think that we're primarily going to be using Eviolite on those Pokemon whenever we use them. So
I will say, I didn't really think, when looking through the team, I didn't really have any other Pokemon other than these 6 in mind. Yeah. Because, one, they have a lot of flying type possible moves with Hurricane Kingdra, Corviknight. Then they have Psychic on Mew, Hurricane on Pelipper, things of that sort. So I was like, okay, Virizion definitely does not want to be here. Yeah. Even with Talonflame. So while it can do a little bit of damage, I was like, it's just going to get KO'd super easy. Even with a Koba Berry, it's not worth it, because they have 6 or 7 Pokemon that can hit it super effectively. Yeah. And then you're not bringing Torracat to a rain matchup. No. Especially because when their only physical one that's threatening gets Mirror Armor, the Intimidate doesn't even work. And then again, talking about why I didn't put Parasong on Lapras earlier, the opposing team felt too offensive for it to be necessary. So the trapping didn't also feel necessary with Gothorita. Yeah. And then Jolteon potentially, but it didn't really fit with either the Dusclops or the Rhydon in the last spot. because the Rhydon was going to have Lightning Rod to take away the electric moves, and the Dusclops was going to set up Trick Room, which the Jolteon didn't particularly want.
Yeah.
So it seemed to make the most sense to bring Dusclops Rhydon as the pair as the last two. The first four were definitely going to be brought no matter what this week. But the last two, the Dusclops Rhydon pair, seemed to work best in conjunction with each other.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And I think having the Jolteon in Team Preview might also bluff, like, we might be bluffing that we're not bringing the Trick Room mode. So, like, prepare for all out, like, full speed, kind of back and forth. And if we force them to bring Talonflame in addition to all their Swift Swim moms, and then they just don't have enough slots to bring anything that could operate under Trick Room. And because of that, I just felt really strongly about, I think that's ultimately going to be a good bluff. And that's also going to be kind of a learning experience for us in this multi-battle league, like the whole bring 4 or show 4, bring 3 for each person. The other thing that we have to consider is we have to remember like which sides Pokemon go on, because it's not like a common pool of Pokemon where we can send either out. So we have to think really hard about the cores, and that's part of JD and I, the rest of our prep before the game. It's going to be deciding which 2 Pokemon want to be out next to each other at the same time. So I don't know that we're going to be able to get every single tech on here, where we're going to be able to get everyone side by side. But we know for sure, like, we want Whimsicott and Dracovish out at the same time. We know we want Dusclops and Rhydon, probably Dusclops and Solgaleo as the other one, potentially. And then, so that leaves the other side at, that leaves Dusclops and Lapras and Whimsicott likely on the same side, while Rhydon, Dracovish, and Solgaleo are in the other. So it's an interesting piece too, especially with spread moves, where we can target down one side of our opponent and we can leave it to where it's constantly 2v1s.
That seems a bit broken.
I agree. We were asking a bunch of questions in the Discord yesterday just to try and get clarification. But when we did a little test multi-battle, we confirmed that when one side is out of their mons, they don't get to pull from the other side.
Oh wow! Yeah, that seems like the strategy then.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
for sure. Well, cool. Thanks so much for doing the heavy lifting and building this team and coming up with these EV spreads. We really appreciate it. Nibs and I are gonna spend some time strategizing exactly how we're gonna go ahead and execute with this. And the day that this team builder goes up, the battle will go up the following day. So if you're here and you're watching on the day that it drops, come back tomorrow about the same time, and you should be able to find the battle matchup between the ATX Marowak versus the Sweepers. So thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. We really appreciate it. We're trying to do some other types of content like this Multi-Battle League, to kind of help fill some of the time where we don't have our ATX VGC friendlies. So if y'all like this, if y'all like this type of content and are interested in more of this kind of draft league stuff, go ahead and leave a like, leave a comment if you have any questions as well. And if you want to continue to get these, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That'd be really great. Again, we really appreciate y'all. Thanks for coming out, and have a good rest of your day.